For me, it's really nice to come to Nepal and to see such an eminent cardiologist to be here and actually talk about eating right as a way of life, and even having his book which says healthier lifestyle for a healthier heart. I really think that that just makes so much sense, because without eating right, one can't have a heart which is beating right. Is that right? So eat right so that the heart is beating right. I'm going to tell you about how size 0 came into existence for me. For me, it came into existence when I was live on a TV show, and the show host said, "कैसे कर दिखाया करीना ने ये करिश्मा, अभी जाते हैं इस ब्रेक के बाद." And thankfully for me, there was a break, and then I messaged my partner Gaurav. I said, "What is size 0? Google it right now." And thankfully for us, the breaks are often long, and it was a 2-3 minute long break, and I got time, and then he told me what size 0 meant. So size 0 was actually something which made headlines on a brand show in Paris. So it was something which was used only in the modeling industry. But every time that I'm talking about size 0, this is what yeah. And now the fourth important part, which is of course diet, which is our, so I'm going to give you 5 top secrets about size 0. The size 0 5 top secrets. Number 1, don't wake up to chai. So how many of you wake up and have chai? Or how many of you wake up to smell the coffee? Yeah. So if you're doing that, then obviously what you're doing is that you're slowing down your fat burning processes. If you want a fast, if you want to accelerate your fat burning process, you need to wake up to food and not to chai or coffee. That's the number 1 thing that you should do. What happens when you wake up to food? Nice, steady, stable blood sugars. Yeah? And the nice, steady, stable blood sugars mean that you're not converting food to fat. You're actually utilizing it for whatever activity that you're doing in the day. So that's why, number 1, wake up to food. And then what happens to chai?
Stimulates your hunger.
Yes. When do you drink your chai? After you eat something. Okay, so you don't need to give up on chai and become a Himalayan yogi. All that you have to do is eat something and then have your chai. Okay, so that's the first rule. The second rule is always plan for what you're going to eat at 6 o'clock in the evening. How many of you have said this about yourself? I can diet all day, but I don't know what happens to me in the evening. You're tired, you don't know what you're going to eat, you're away from any home cooked meal, and more save puri, all the junk food. So all our junk food stalls do super business around sunset, because that's the time when everybody is eating raw. So if you plan for that 4 to 6 meal, you will actually be able to stay lean. How does that help you? That brings me to the third point. Everybody says that you should be eating something light for dinner. But how many of us manage to do that? We don't manage to do that because we don't follow the second point, which is we don't plan for the 4 to 6 o'clock meal. So at 4 to 6, you've either stuffed yourself so much that you don't feel like eating anything by 8 or 9, or you haven't eaten anything at all, you've killed your appetite with tea or coffee, so by 9 or 9:30, you're ready to eat an elephant. Right? And this happens to us every day. Every day this happens to us, but we refuse to learn. So, plan your food, that's the second point, and plan most importantly for the 6 o'clock meal. And then comes the third point, which is, yes, keeping dinners light will happen only if the second point is followed. That's something that we have to remember. And the third point is that more than keeping dinners light, what is important is that we keep a light stomach when we go to bed. So what should be the time difference between dinner and bedtime? At least 2 hours. Everybody seems to know that, and how many of us do it? Good, not bad. In the US, there was one concept called TV dinners. Have you heard of that? distance of at least 2 hours between your dinner and bedtime. My fourth point, I was speaking to somebody this afternoon and I said that, in Nepal and in India, there's been a culture that before you eat, you say your prayers. Has that been a culture? Yeah? And what is it that we are doing now? That before we eat, we switch on the TV. The latest breaking news, our waist started going, or our navel started going away from our spine. Have you like this to like this? If you see us standing at the airport, we are standing like this. Yeah, we can't help it. We watch TV in the night. And I'm told that Indian serials are popular in Nepal too. So I think even you are watching our serials, So every time you watch our serials, also watch what happens to our waistline. And if that appeals to you, continue watching our serials. Okay, if it doesn't, then don't watch our serials while you're having your dinner. Have your dinner, and then what? When you're having your dinner, what is it that you should be doing? Watching TV, chatting with family, or what? Just eating. Wow, who said that? Wonderful. When you're having your dinner, eat. Don't really watch, use your BlackBerry, or chat, argue, any of those things while you're eating food. Just keep your focus on your food. So that's the fourth point. Please do not watch TV while eating. And the fifth point, what's the fifth point? Respect your local traditional food. That's the most important point, People back in India, in Mumbai have told me when you go to Nepal, now that you're going a chance to go to Nepal, किसी नेपाली औरत को पकड़ के दाल का रेसिपी लेके आना. Okay, because Nepali women make better dals than Indian women. Okay, but what's happening in India, in Nepal, in a whole lot of Southeast Asian countries is that we have started believing that our food is dangerous. It's our food or our culture of eating rice. Oh, like there. Can you hear me at the back? That's the benefit of coming from Mumbai. We can scream from anywhere. So, the thing is that respect your culture. Don't ever think that rice is fattening. How many of you have started believing that rice is fattening? Yeah? Okay. And what about rice and dal? Over a period of time, people go from eating rice and dal for dinner to soup and salads for dinner. And then they hope कि अभी rice और दाल नहीं खा रहे हैं, soup और salad खा रहे हैं, तो कमर पतली हो जाएगी. लेकिन क्या पतला होता है? दिमाग. The brain starts shrinking, the waist starts expanding. And the reason is that you're not receiving the nourishment that your body needs. For the climate that you come from, for the food which, it's the food which grows in your kind of climate which is going to be the most helpful for your body. So you have to eat food which is local. You have to eat food which is as old as your civilization. Rice and the dal with the tadka and the little saag or the tarkari or the sabzi which comes with it. In all, when you eat it together, the combination makes the best amino acid profile. And anything which has a good amino acid profile helps you accelerate your fat burning. But today we are going more and more towards the soup and salad thing because we have started believing that everything that is yucky to taste, everything that is expensive, and everything that is not made in my house is good for me. Have you started believing in that? Everything that is made in my kitchen or in my mom's kitchen, everything that's yummy and everything that's reasonably priced is probably the worst thing that I can do for my fat loss. So the secret to your size 0 in terms of food is really look after the fifth point. Make sure that most of